Hello, Stampers! I've got a little fall card for you today. I know we want to rush right to Christmas and do all our Christmas cards, but we occasionally need a card in fall, right? So I decided to show you how to create this card. I just love this ribbon here that comes, it's a copper and natural ribbon combo pack. So it has copper and that natural ribbon, and I love the way this frays. So you can do so much with it. So today I just did this, and I'll show you how to do that. We're going to go step by step through this project. Now it may surprise you how I got this image here, and I'm going to tell you I got it with the Aspen tree dies. I'm going to show you this dies. This main die here, there's a bunch of dies in here, and they coordinate with the Perched in a Tree stamp set. So I have this die here that cuts these trees out in an oval shape, right? And we're going to use this cutout to create those trees. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Here's the Perched in a Tree stamp set. It's a really pretty stamp set, and we're going to be using this here, and you could use any of these sentiments inside your card also. So lovely stamp set and dies that you can pick up. Now we have a background stencil here that we're going to be using also, and I have used the tar out of these stencils. This is the Abundant Beauty decorative mask. They call them masks. I call them stencils. I think it's just kind of the same thing, right? So this pack has a leaf stencil in it that is beautiful. So I use that in my background there. Now let's get started on our project here. Now I wanted a nice thin main image strip here. This is a regular quarter card. So it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So my little strip here is basic white. So this is basic white, and it's 2 inches by 5 1/2. So we're going to start on that right away, but first we need to put some background color in it. When I do my trees, I want them more gray than I wanted that bright white. So we're just going to tone that down a bit. We're going to get some gray granite ink out here and a blending brush. I'm using quite a few blending brushes here. I just want to make sure I have the right one. There we go. So I'm just going to blend this all over this little piece of cardstock. And that just tones down that white a bit so our trees won't be so stark white. I really wanted more of a gray color. So gray granite and a blending brush will do the trick. So there we have that. So next we need our stencil going here. So I'm going to show you how we get that. So I took that die, like I said, I ran it through the Stampin' Cut Emboss machine, and I cut it out of a piece of basic black. And I wasn't worried that I, just do enough that it just fits, because we're not going to keep this oval shape here. So what I need to do is just take a pair of paper snip scissors, and I'm going to cut along where these branches are and just make them, branch ends instead of them being attached. I need to go a little bit more here. There we go. See how that brings those out, and so we have like branch ends there instead of that oval. So there we have that, and this is going to be our trees on here. So we have that. Now we need just going to get a Post-it note here. Now you could use a 3 by 3, but what I have here is a 3 by 5. And I'm just going to mask about 2 3/4 here at the bottom. And then I'm going to add my stencil on here. And I just want it to where this tree right here, you can see a little bit of the cardstock beside it on the left side there. And I'm going to go off the top just a bit so you don't have some weird ending to your trees. Okay, so we're looking just like this. And we're going to take some boho blue out. So I have my blue ink here, and I'm going to grab a blending brush. Let's see what blending brush I have. I have a couple blue. I try to have one for darker colors and one for lighter colors. So we're going to do boho blue here at the top. And I'm just going to hold this in place as I do this. I'm going to put that boho blue all over this unmasked area. Now when I go to put more ink on, because I don't want to let go of this, I'm holding my thumb on the edge of my ink pad here, and then I'm just bringing that brush across so I don't have to let go. Just something I just started doing recently, and it's really helped when I'm using these masks like this. Okay, so there's our sky there. And now I'm going to keep that tree going there, and I want to put some darker color here at the top, and I'm going to bring in some Misty Moonlight. So I'm going to add Misty Moonlight. I'm going to line that trees back up there, and then I'm going to add this darker color here at the top. I love multicolored skies, so I just add that in there, and isn't that pretty? Voila! There we go. Okay, so before I move my Post-it note, I'm going to bring in a couple more colors here. I'm going to add some Crumb Cake. And that will be like our grassy area. So I'm just going to add some Crumb Cake along here, right along that bottom there. And that just looks like there's some land that goes beyond the trees. It doesn't just chop right off there where the trees are. So that's Crumb Cake. And then I'm going to bring in a little darker color. We're going to go to Basic Gray here. Because I want some actual like ground. So this, I'm just going to put some ink on the tip of my blending brush here. And then I'm just going to do a back and forth motion right at that Post-it note edge, just to get a little darker right at that Post-it note edge there. Okay, look at that. We're just moving right along. Now we want to do our reflection side. Now we're going to pretty much do everything we just did at the top, and then we're going to do at the bottom. And I'm going to take this Post-it note off, and I'm going to turn it around, and I'm going to put it on, and I'm going to leave like a 1/16 of an inch of that tree and everything else that we did at the top showing beneath that Post-it note. That way when I do my reflection, I'll be able to line my trees right up together because I can see a little bit of the tree trunks there. But first we need to put in our water. And we're going to do a little different color on the bottom. We're going to go to Balmy Blue here. Just going to clean my blending brush a little bit. We're going to put some Balmy Blue all over here. So I did that Balmy Blue kind of lightly. And now I'm going to add my trees. And we did them this way on the upper one. Now we need to flip it over, and we're going to go upside down, and we're going to line our trees up with those tree trunks. So give it a look. I'm going to bring it down some. Remember, we just came off the top. Make sure I'm still lined up here. And see how that tree is like just off. You can see that little bit of that paper on this side of that long tree here. So now that's where I want it to be. So I'm just going to ink up my blending brush again. And we put a little bit of that balmy blue down here because this is our reflection side. It's not going to be that bright gray color that we had at the top. It's going to be more blue because of the water. And so now we're going over it again with balmy blue. And now I'm putting a little bit more pressure on my brush. Okay, and that will really take that color a shade darker. So I'm putting it all over down here. Okay, and just like we did at the top, this is a reflection. So we're going to need a little bit more of that darker color of blue. So we're going to go back to that misty moonlight color. And a blending brush. And then I'm going to line those trees back up here. And I'm going to take a little bit of that misty moonlight. There we go. And I'm going to add it here at the bottom of the cardstock because this is reflecting our sky. So we got our water that is going to take on that blue from the top of our sky down here. And you can come out a little bit to the side here too. There we go. And now I'm going to move this. Now this seems really bright, right? And I want it to look more like it's water. So I want it to take on more of the watercolor. So without adding any more ink to my blending brush, I'm going to add some of that misty moonlight to this tree, just to tone it down so it's part of the water and not so bright. Okay, so we have that, and my panel slipped here. There we go, put it right back. And now remember we put that ground area in at the top, so we need to do that here at the bottom too. So I'm going to get my crumb cake back out. That was our grasses. So this is going to show up lighter on this side. Okay. And I'll just put a little bit of that there at the top of our water. And then we got darker yet, remember, with our basic gray. So we're going to bring that back out. And we're almost done. So I'm just putting a little bit on my end of my brush here. And I'm just going to go back and forth here like we did at the top, just at that edge of that Post-it note, just to get a little darker there. And that's going to make that line that you're seeing there darker too. So that will make it look more like that's the edge of our water. So there is our reflection and our trees. Isn't that fun? So I wanted it to look more on the fall side. You could leave it like this for the winter look with completely bare trees. But I wanted to bring in a little color. So I'm bringing in this dotted stamp out of the Perched in a Tree stamp set. And I'll show it to you right here. And it's just, you know, tiny little dots. I have some crushed curry ink here, and I'm just going to add just a few of those up here at the top of our tree. Okay, so I put it at the top. Now I'm going to put it at the bottom. They're not going to show up very strong at the bottom, and that's what you want because remember, reflection side, so it needs to be lighter than what you see up here. So we have those, and then I wanted it to look like there may be some leaves floating in the water. So I have this crushed curry marker here, and I'm going to use the side of my brush end, and I'm just going to touch down like this on my cardstock to make it look like there's little leaves. And I'm just doing this randomly. I don't want them like lined up. Okay, and I don't want to go out further than my tree is wide. Just want it to look like they might have just fell down into the water. Now, if you find they're not showing up very well, you can just put your marker right back over on those dots just to make that color just a little stronger. So there's our little leaves floating in the water. Now I want to define this tree up here a little better. So I have a gray granite marker here, and I'm going to use the brush end. And I want to define this tree and make it look like the light may be coming from this direction. And if it's coming from this direction, the other side, this side, so the right side of all our branches will have like a shadow underneath them. So I'm just doing the underside of the branches here, right along the edge and down the tree trunk side. Okay, and I'm going to do that with all of these branches. So come down that side. Now I'm stopping where that bow in the branch is. Now this one's behind it, so I need to kind of skip over. And you'll get the hang of this once you kind of look at your image. You're like, okay, so that's an underside or a left side. So you'll want to put some color there. So this branch right here, doing the left side of it, we're doing the right side of it, doing the right side of this. Apparently I don't know my right from my left today. And then we have a branch here, so we're going to do the right side of that. Right side of this here, right side of that. You know, you'll get the hang of this. And this right here, I want this branch to come across to look like it's across that tree here. So I think that's pretty much all that I want to do, and see how that just makes that tree just really kind of pop off the page, just that little bit of shadow. So I encourage you to do that, and just remember you're doing the underside of branches and the right side, so the right undersides, and I think you'll do just fine with that. Just remember your light's coming in this way, so all the sides of your tree this way will have the shadow on it. And that's just how it works. So like if our light was coming from this direction, we would have did the left side of all the branches. So we're not doing anything to this because this is the reflection side. We don't want it to be as bold as this. So there you have it. Look, done. Done, done, done. And what a great little scene that is. And it really didn't take that much time. You just needed to break it down step by step. Now our sky and water could be in any colors. Like if you wanted to do like a sunset view here, you just change these to oranges or purples or whatever for your sky. And you would just repeat those colors down below here. So it's just a flip of what you did up here. I hope that makes sense, and it's clearer than mud, as my mom would say. So we have that done. And now I just want to do some panels here. I have 2 panels of Crumb Cake. Now, just know that all the dimensions for this card are down below this video. Just click show more and you'll see them down there, along with all the links to the products. That'll take you directly to my online store where you can pick them up 24/7. Just know that when you're a customer of mine, I have some perks that you'll get. You'll get 4 exclusive tutorials every month that you purchase from me. And nobody else gets those. So you'll have them for a full year before I release them to the public. So those are a lot of fun to do. And you'll see those on my blog. Now, also on my blog, there's a hostess code. If you use that, you'll also start earning tokens for your orders of $50 or more. And you just collect 10 tokens, and guess what? You've earned a free stamp set from me. So look for that. But we're going to get going on our little panels here. So Crumb Cake panels. This is 2 different sizes. This first one here is the full size, full front of our card. So it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Now this crumb cake panel here is for the inside of our card, and it's 4 by 5 1/4. But you can get those dimensions down below this video. So I just brought them both out because I want to do a little bit of that stenciling on here. I'm going to grab my stencil. And again, this is out of the Abundant Beauty Decorative Mask. So I'm going to just put this over my largest panel here. We'll just set the inside one aside here for just a moment. I'm going to grab that Crumb Cake ink pad again. So we have Crumb Cake panels, Crumb Cake ink, and a blending brush. Now I just want these just to show up a bit. And I'm not going to come all the way to the right side. Just know that. I'm going to do like 3/4. We're going to say 3/4 of this panel on the left side. So like 1/4 of this panel on the right will not have any stenciling on it. So I'm just going to start over here. I'm just holding this down. I didn't tape it or anything. Feel free to tape your decorative mask down so it doesn't slide or anything. I'm just going to hold mine in place. And like I said, I'm not doing any like this 1/4 of the cardstock on the right. So get some color there. All right, now I'm lifting that up, and there we have that. Okay, I'm going to do that process to the inside of our inside panel here. Getting so inky today. Usually I don't get that much ink on me, but boy, I've got it going on today. Okay, so I'm going to add some here on this inside panel too. I'm going to do it lightly just so that when I stamp a sentiment in here, it's not competing with that background stencil. And I'm not doing it as far in. Right? So there we have that. And there's our stenciling done. Isn't that a beautiful stencil? I just love all the different kinds of leaves. Okay, so now I just want to get dark on the edges. We're just going to distress a bit. And I'm going to bring out some early espresso and a sponge. I tend to distress with sponges rather than using the blending brushes. The blending brushes just give you such a smooth look. I want more of a distressed look. So I'm going to bring in the early espresso. Now this is a nice dark rich brown. And I'm taking my little sponge here and I'm just going to go over the edges. I'm just scraping that sponge against the edge just to distress it. I'm doing the corners much further in. And also on this right side where we don't have any that stenciling going on, you can come in a lot further. So I'm like starting like a 1/2 inch into my cardstock there when I'm scraping. And then just do the edges all the way around. Just gives you such a nice look. There we go. And that kind of, when you put it up against a darker cardstock, then it's nice to carry that dark colored panel below into your card there. It doesn't look like such an abrupt end just by adding a little color to the edges. I'm just yakking away today. I think I drank too much tea. Okay. Moving right along here. And there's our inside. Now we could go ahead and stamp our sentiment in there. There's some really pretty sentiments in this Perched in a Tree stamp set, like No Matter the Season, I'm Here for You. And this is more for Christmas, Let Heaven and Nature Sing. And Wishing You an Abundant Joy of Peace. And then you also have Your Kindness Warms My Heart. So, these sing cards, you know, you can put about any sentiment in them. They're really so versatile. But I'm leaving mine blank for now because I don't know what I'm going to use it yet for. I'm going to wipe my hands off a bit here, and then we'll get going putting things together. Now I have this panel here. This is our front of our card. I'm going to put this one aside there. And I want some of this natural ribbon. Here we have it here. This is a nice wide ribbon. And I just want 2 pieces that are the same length as my panel is wide. Just going to get some ribbon scissors out here and just kind of guesstimate. So there's one, and then I want this 2 that are the same size. So I'll just hold that up as the length I want here, and then give another trim. Okay, so we have those. And these are so easy to fray. So you just grab it and just start fraying. You'll end up with 1 string here. And as you pull it, it just keeps on unraveling. I'm going to unravel about a 1/2 inch. And then I want to take this string that I've been pulling and I want it to one side here. And then I'm going to snip it off. And that way it's just not like hanging in the middle there. Okay, so we're going to take our second piece of ribbon. We're going to do that same thing. We're going to pull that string and have it, keep it going here. It tends to knot up if you go real fast, so I'm just going to slow down here a bit. Okay, now I'm going to want it to come over here to this, clear to the side with that piece that you're pulling on, and again trim it. Here we go. Now I have 2, and I just want to make sure they're kind of the same amount of raveling going on. All right, so I have that. Get rid of my strings there, so I'll get tied up. Okay, so now I just want to take some Stampin' Seal. Tape runner works best for this, just to adhere it to your card. And I just want a couple strips of this for each of those pieces of ribbon. So where I want them at, I'll just put a couple lines. Let's get this going. I'm telling you, I use glue so much. I get so challenged with tape runner. There we go. So I'm going to bring this out, and I don't want to come all the way to the end because that is where our fringes will be. Okay, so I have it like, have 2 strips together that are like this wide. And I'm going to do that same thing down a little lower. Now this isn't rocket science. You can just guesstimate where you want them at. But you don't want them further apart than what your ribbon is wide. Get this going here. I can't, there we go. And then you'll just put your ribbon on over that adhesive. My bright lights are giving me fits on where it's at. There we go. There's one. We have our other here. There we go. We have them adhere to the cardstock. And if you have any ends that are sticking off there, you can take your scissors. Whoops, my camera cut out on me there's just for a second there. Now I took my main panel and I backed it with a panel of early espresso that is 2 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I just glued my main panel onto that early espresso panel, and then I added Stampin' Dimensionals to the back of these and put them on my card front here. So now we're all up to speed, and I'm going to continue on here. Now I'm going to go ahead and attach this whole thing. I'm going to add it to my card front. Now this covers the entire card front. of an Earl Espresso card base. So this is a 5.5 by 8.5, and I folded in half to create my quarter card. So I'm just going to add this on. I'm just going to add some multi-purpose glue here. Add a little love. And put this on the front of my card. There we go. Now I have a couple of little Earl Espresso strips here, and this is a 1/4 inch by 1.5. So I love doing little things like this. It doesn't cost me anything. It's just like a little scrap cardstock. So I'm going to take mini glue dots. I'm going to add a mini glue dot to each side, each end of this. I like to just add it off of the spool here. Pick that up. So there I have that one ready, and then I'm going to do the other one. There we go, one on each end. You want it as close to the end as you can get it. And then we're going to add these to over our ribbon here. There we go, and we'll just press down those glue dots on each end so it attaches to the card stock. And I'm going to do the same thing up here. Just kind of lining it up with that one I just put on. There we go, super simple. Okay, now I want a little bling. And I have this brush metallic adhesive back dots. Boy, I'm ready for a new one. I'm getting low here. I'm getting a little antsy because these are my favorites. So I'm just going to take a couple of these. They're the antique brass looking ones. And I'm just going to add one to each side of that little decorative strip we got going on there, just like it's tacking those ends down. We all know better, but that's what it looks like, right? There we go. So we have those, and look at that. There is our card front. Now we already have our card insert all done, so I'm going to add that in. Now if you know what sentiment you want to put on, I would do that before you adhere it inside the card, but I don't know yet. I don't know what I'm going to use this for. It's just going to go in my stash, so I have it all ready when I need a card. How many of you do that? And like I said, I love these scene cards that work for about any occasion. So there you have it. There's today's project. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and that you give it a try. Most of all, I hope I've inspired you to get those inks out and those stamps and just stamp away. Take care. Toodles.